Hey, welcome back. Today we're up here on the mezzanine doing a Christmas themed shirt. Powering the print has been a logo and slogan of ours for a long time. I thought it was about time to turn that logo into a Christmas themed shirt. In true Christmas sweater fashion, we did an oversized print. We're not talking about a super wide past the shoulder seams print, but we are talking about a very tall print. So this design itself is 13 by 17. So 13 wide, 17 tall. I had to come up here on the 360 because I needed an arm that was long enough in order to hold the oversized platen so my print would even fit. I wasn't able to get this on the 250 that we normally print on and show our demonstrations. So what are the things that you want to look at when you start to do any kind of oversized printing? Number one is how tall that print is in relation to the sweet spot of your screen. So the sweet spot on a 20 by 24 screen, a manual screen, is anywhere from 12 to 14 inches tall, depending on the tension levels that you have on that screen. On the auto size frames, the 2331s, that sweet spot is quite a bit bigger. It's typically 16, maybe as much as 17. Again, depending on your tension levels. Now we're working with new red glue frames that we'll be carrying here in about a month, and that they come in at very high tension levels. So I was very comfortable grabbing screens and going to town on them in order to do an oversized print. So the other thing you want to look at is your squeegee selection. Not everyone has squeegees that are big enough, wide enough to do a 13, 14 inch print. You want to make sure that you have enough overlap. The bigger it goes, the closer you get to the edge of your frame. I like to see 1 inch clearance on the side of the print. So this is a 13 inch print. I went up to a 16 inch squeegee in order to get my mesh to be flat enough against the shirt so that there was minimal mesh distortion. Also very similar to what you'll be running on an automatic if this is your focus. All right, enough about the technical stuff. Let's print some fun things. So I'm using FN Puff in my white, just a little bit, about 10%. I wanted to increase that loft a little and create some nice texture out of the print. I'm on a 156 mesh using the Chromaline Chroma Blue, and I did a 1 in 3, so it's a slightly thicker stencil. 230 mesh for my top colors. I did do a slightly larger than normal choke on my white in order to make sure that I had enough overlap of the color as the print deposit got higher. So let's print. All right, so there's my 2 passes. I'm going to give this a flash. Now, the flash I'm using is our 1824 flash, and getting an even flash across a large print is a challenge. If your platen's cold, it's even more of a challenge to get the ends and the sides of your print properly flashed. Making sure that it is centered underneath the flash is very important, and controlling your temperatures, as always, are imperative. Let's take a look. Dry, 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 dry. Excellent. Now I'm going to do a little print flash print because I want that texture. I want it to have some up-down dimensionality to it. All right, nice and flashed. Now for the green, for the Ryonet R, we are using the Wilflex Rio ready for use inks for this. Printing through a 230 mesh. And thankfully, I was not as flash dry as I thought I was. It lifted, bad me, I thought I had it. So this is a problem that you can have when you're doing oversized prints on a manual press. Now, I'm having this problem specifically because I am putting my shirt under the flash and then bringing it right back to me. If you're going in sequence like normal, you won't see this as much. Now this is because as the flash goes over, this side that was drier to the touch went under the flash first and then exited the flash last. So it got a second or so more time under heat than this side did. And that was clearly just enough to cause this side of the print to be a little bit cooler and not flash as much. So, lesson learned. A little ho-ho humbug. I got a little humbug in the screen. All right, everything is properly dried. Now for the red, this is National Red, and the green was Kelly Green. Other than that little bit of pickup in the white, there is my print. So when I'm looking at this, I probably choked my white just a little bit too much. I did a 0.75 in anticipation of a little bit of spread from the puff or the height from the puff. But with what I'm seeing here from the overlap that I've got on the edge of the print, it wasn't needed. I could have gone to my normal 0.5 choke and everything would have turned out fantastic. Now this is an XL shirt and I'm not an XL wearer. Did I make it big enough? Fresh out of the oven. So looking at this, other than my faux pas snafu over here on the other side, we're going to ignore that. Jedi mind tricks, ignore the right side of the print. The puff, that little bit of texture that I wanted is definitely there. Mission accomplished. But the comment that I made about my choking trapping being just a little bit too much definitely holds true. I would have done, instead of the 0.75 choke that I did, a standard 0.5 choke would have been fantastic for this. When I was doing the pixel art, what I experienced when creating it was, number one, working off of someone else's pattern is immensely helpful. Do not struggle through creating your own. Find a piece of art that somebody else has done and go off of that pixel art. There's no shame in taking somebody else's template and using it in that respect. Specifically for the text, I went through and I did that as myself for doing basic block, and I'm like, I don't really like how it looks. Found this as a pattern and said, ooh, that's exactly what I want, and ended up using that to go in and click all my little pixels of this pattern and turn them on to create the text that I have here. Same thing with the reindeer and the snowflake. Now the R, that was a little bit of a challenge because pixel art is either a 0 and 90 or a 45-degree angle to make a clean line. This line is more like a 30-degree angle. So I've got to go like down a little bit, over, down a little bit, over, down a little bit, and it doesn't quite look right, but the end result, it ends up looking fairly decent. I'm happy with the overall size of the print. I was thinking about going a little bit bigger, but then I'm pushing the boundaries of the platen that I'm on. I only have a little bit of clearance here and here. And when you're down here holding onto your squeegee, it doesn't matter how high tension the screen is, you're starting off the end of your platen. So it's a little bit of a challenge in that respect. And of course, being taller definitely helps to get that long arm reach in. Do you guys think I hit the mark? Or do I need to go back to the drawing board and learn something about art? Thank you all very much for watching as we printed our first ugly Christmas sweater. Although it's not ugly. We did a 13 by 17 inch tall print, which is too big for a standard manual screen, a 20 by 24. And in order to keep the registration that I wanted over the length of this very long squeegee pull, I needed to make sure that I used higher tension automatic frames. Now we have some new frames coming in from our partners at Nortec. They are red glue frames, and they are all stretched to higher tension levels, to the point where I was comfortable grabbing these, taking them on press, and doing a 17-inch tall print, and having my registration marks line up on the bottom and the top of my print. Makes it roughly 20 inches tall. That's some confidence right there. For all that I grumble about pixel art, I had fun putting this together. I really like the end result. It's hitting the mark that I wanted for this ugly sweater design. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying what we're doing here, hit that like button. If you know somebody who's thinking about making a Christmas sweater, shoot this over to them. Maybe they'll get something out of it that helps them on their path. If you have questions about what we're doing or questions in general, throw a comment down below. If you're into the holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus. If you're not, bah humbug. Have a great end of your year. Hopefully it's been a great one for you. Looking forward to what's happening next year. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.